Just a matter of literally sitting down and doing the steps that we've gone over. So remember, I found the halfway mark of his face on the picture. Now, remember, this works best if the picture has been printed out, right? So remember, the center of your face or anyone's face is between the eyes, right? So I put a dot there, a dot at the nose, and then all I did was connect the lines or the dots to create that vertical line, right? And then I put a line going through his eyes. Now, a couple things in terms of the eyes that I've been noticing for some people. Sometimes, if you look at the line going through his eye or eyes, the line hits both corners of his eyes. But if you look, if I zoom in, you'll notice that the majority of his eyes above, or both eyes, are above that horizontal line. That's fine. When you draw it, you just need to make sure that when you draw the eyes on your paper, they're the same way. So they're above that line a little bit, right? So keep that in mind, because other people sometimes the inside corners droop down more, or the opposite. The outside corners droop down more and the inside ones droop up, because everyone has slightly different eyes, right? But they're the same width. All right. So I did that, right? Vertical, horizontal. Now with my paper, I went ahead and did the same thing on, where's it? Where'd it go? Here it goes. On this one, right? So I put the vertical lines. And the easy thing that you could do, this paper, my photocopy paper, is smaller than my drawing paper. So I literally just put it on top. Or I don't know. No, I didn't do it on this one. I just went ahead and put a line down the center. And when I put the paper, the photocopy paper next to my drawing paper, I just kind of made sure that it was on the same level. That horizontal line was on the same level as the picture line, right? And so now all I did was just literally take measurements from my picture. And now if you don't have a printout of it, remember you can do this on your Chromebook as well. Just make sure it's zoomed in the same amount each time. And then I just transferred all the little measurements, right? So that's the inside corner of his eye. And then I did the same thing for the outside corner over here, right? And basically, think of it as, remember those puzzles that you would do as a little kid that had all the dots, that had all the numbers? And then all you would do is just connect all the numbers or the dots to the numbers. It's kind of the same thing, right? So then I just went ahead and did the dot for the skin, where the skin ends, before it hits the hair, right? So that's the side of his face here. And then I did the same thing on the other side over here and put a dot for the measurement of that, right? And so now I just go ahead and kind of like what we did as a class together is just start putting and adding all of the facial features down. Now keep in mind that when I'm doing this, I'm looking at the picture. One of the common things that people sometimes do is they just start drawing and forget about the picture. Keep in mind, we're drawing the person that's on that picture that you chose. So you definitely need to look at it so that you're drawing it correctly, right? And this is basically what we did together. And then I just start adding all the details that I see on the picture onto my drawing, the reflections, right? And right now the eye looks kind of small, but keep in mind that I still need to add the upper eyelid, the lower eyelid stuff, right? And so I just start building it up until I have everything on the face. Keep in mind too, everything is really light. I didn't draw anything super dark because that's where the shading comes in. Actually, I think I made the lips outlined a little too dark. So I don't draw anything super dark because again, everything's gonna start to come up to life once I start the shading process. So I haven't shaded anything because I have to double check that everything's in the, number one, everything's in the right place or as closest to the right place as I can get it. Number two, the size is correct. So I double check all my measurements just to make sure that things are in the right place. So the other thing too that I kind of measured is the height of the eyes, right? So I go over here and I measure it with my pencil. and it's the same height, right? Now, there's going to be some slight differences, like little tiny bits. It's not like I'm using a ruler, right? I'm using the pencil. As long as everything is really close to the measurement on the picture, then you should be fine. Notice too, I started to add shapes along the face here. So this kind of line or this kind of shape that I drew is basically a marker to tell me where his face starts to get darker and then changes. And then I have this darker line or shape along the jaw, right? That's just to tell me that's where it's going to get darker along the jawline because of his beard, right? The eyebrows, I drew the shapes of it. Notice how it comes out really close to the center. This eyebrow is bigger or longer than the one on the right. So I made sure to extend it over here, right? And then there are some things that are slightly off. For example, the ear, I would say the shape is slightly off on this one. I maybe have to curve it in a little bit more, right? The other ear, it's maybe a little more accurate, or I should probably go out a little more to over here, just because it sticks out a little bit more, right? And again, I can also measure it and see if it's the same. It looks the same here on my drawing, or measured the same, so it probably is, right? Use your pencil or ruler, whatever you're using to measure, as a double checking tool. And then for the hairline, again, notice I just went ahead just to kind of get where that little divot is at on his picture. I did the same. I measured and made sure it's the same measurement on my drawing that it is on the paper, right? And as you can see from just the line drawing, it looked pretty similar, right? The eyes and the eyebrows is what really make him come to life in terms of what he looks like, right? Remember how I said that when you look at someone or at a picture of someone, the first thing you look at are the eyes. So the eyes are super important to make sure you have reflections, make sure you have all the little things. So let me zoom in to kind of bring that up to light. I'll zoom in on these two. So again, well, they're not the same eye. That's the only problem here. We'll do it this way. So these two are the same eyes, right? So I have this line here, that wrinkle is this one. Maybe it's too arched. I should probably bring it down a little bit. And then this other wrinkle over here that has two, like this one and this one, that's right here, this one and this line here. And they kind of touch up here, right? I did not add eyelashes because you can't see each individual eyelash up here. It just looks like a thicker line. And that's why I just went ahead and kind of doubled up on that upper eyelid. And then the lower eyelid, those are eyelashes, but they don't even look like eyelashes. They just look like smudges, right? So I'm not going to draw eyelashes if I don't see them. Same thing for your people. If you don't see an eyelash or something specific, then don't draw it. Only draw what you see. Huh? So again, get all your measurements, and then you start drawing the shapes, right? So find the center of your person on your picture, draw the vertical line, horizontal line, and then start putting the little markers on your drawing paper from your image. And remember, you can grab the markers or the measurements, not just on a piece of paper, hard copy, but also on your screens. But make sure when you have it on your screen that it's zoomed in or zoomed out the same amount each time, so your measurements aren't changing